Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to new session. Earlier we have seen meaning of globalization. In short, globalization is the process of rapid integration or interconnection between countries. In terms of economies, that economies of different world interconnected with other economies, with other countries' economies. That process is called globalization. More about globalization means how do they connect? How the Indian economy is connected with different economies of the world. Answer we have seen earlier. Answer of this question means we are connected through production across the countries. Multinational corporations, they have their offices and factories across the globe. Similar, we are also connected, means economy of India also connected with other economies of the world through foreign trade. Now let's discuss about the factors that have enabled globalization. How this globalization became that faster than before? How within a few decades, that globalization that became common, this integration of different countries became that rapid. How? So there are certain factors which affected globalization. And let's talk about those factors in context of India, especially in context of India. So there are main three factors that have enabled globalization in India. First, transportation, because for foreign trade, transportation is required. Second, technology in communication and information. IT technology and communication technology. And the third one, liberalization. So these are the three factors, and today I am going to discuss about these three factors that have enabled globalization. So the first factor, that is transportation. Rapid improvement in transportation technology has been one of the major factors that have enabled globalization. For instance, if we talk about common means of transportation, railway, right, for foreign trade ships, aircrafts. So those vehicles, those means are now better than before, thanks to the technology. Now those vehicles, those machines are more fuel efficient than before. At the same time, more faster than before. If we talk about that, like 50 years ago or more, they used coal in ship. Nowadays they use that liquid fuel. Changes. Ships are now become much larger and much faster compared to before, and even safer, easier. So before, transportation of certain goods, like 1 ton of meat, that time very difficult to transport from India to other countries. Nowadays those things became that much cheaper, right? So goods, international goods now became cheaper in different countries. So that is the first factor, which is transportation. Similar, now if we talk about those air transportation, aircrafts, because many things, many goods carried through aircrafts, cargoes. So if you want to import a cell phone or mobile phone or smartphone from other countries, now that's becoming easier. Shipping charges cheaper because easy to send through aircrafts. That is thanks to the technology in transportation. And before 30-40 years back or more, because foreign trade is not a new thing, right? That's a centuries old thing. But before that time, they mostly carried goods through ships. Different types of ships were there in different period of time, right? And generally they carried different types of goods in bigger boxes, wooden boxes basically. little expensive, not little, actually much expensive, and difficult to carry because machines were not there. Nowadays we know that forklift we have to lift the goods, to lift heavier things. We have cranes to put somewhere else. At that time, mainly carried by human labor, manpower. So much difficult. One example we can take about the containers. We all know about the containers, right? Okay, if you don't know that, I'm going to put one picture there, or few pictures there, showing transportation through the containers. Containers are generally those large boxes, container carried through trucks. You can, I think you have seen on the road to come to the school, as well as railways, carried by railways, and for international trade, for foreign trade, sometimes those containers carried in ships. So those transportation through those containers became safer, cheaper, and easier. And generally, goods, different types of goods, are placed in containers that can be loaded and tagged to ships, railways, planes, trucks, etc. Containers have led huge reduction in port handling costs and increased the speed which exports can reach to different markets. Because nowadays goods can be easily transported through the containers, and management through containers, this is became easier now. Ports handling became easier because through forklift and through crane, container can be placed from one place to another, from truck to yard, from yard to ship, or from one railway yard to truck, from truck to railway yard. So it became easier and even faster. So this technology, this kind of technology has played an important role in globalization. Here first, technology in transportation. Second, along with transportation, importance of information and communication technology. Few decades back, mobile phones were not existing. Decades back, as well as telephone was not easy like nowadays. Calling from one country to another country, it was like very difficult task. Had to take trunk line, then the connect line, not easy. And we know that nowadays communication has become easier. It's very easy to communicate. Before, like for foreign trade, let's take an example. With a lack of internet and communication technology, what would happen? Let's go back to few decades back, 1980s. So 1980s, I wasn't existed at that time, but okay, just take an example. If a person, a businessman, had to purchase some goods, a container of television sets, just an example, how to purchase. So, in this case, television manufactured in China, supplier in China, that businessman, a trader from India. So first, he had to go to China because internet was not there, telephone lines were not convenient. Taking flight and go to China in 1980 is not easier like now. Had to find local transportation first. Then after reach airport, it was difficult. Then after take flight, which were expensive, too expensive compared to now. Then across border, means in China, difficult as well. So in other case, we can say that it was not easier and at the same time much expensive. So that person, that businessman, expand that money to go China and to make a deal. Of course, those all cost charges on the consumer only. So he would increase the price of television sets. How difficult to make a deal. Not all people would take risk. Who knows that people will buy on this price or not? Risk. Now, let's compare the same thing now. If you want to order television sets, a container of televisions, LED, LCD, whatever, that's very easy. We can use the communication technology, information and communication technology. Both are the different. Information technology means it's like transportation of information, means if sending and receiving of information. So through internet we send and receive the information. If we send a document, if you get those materials like notes and other, those are the information, and we send through the internet. Now communication. I am uploading this lecture, I am recording this lecture and upload this lecture. That is the mean of communication. You ask your query to the school, there is a communication. So now information technology and communication technology became the cheaper and faster. So easy, right? Nowadays easy. So if we want to purchase televisions from China, that is much easier. We can visit the supplier's website through internet, where the various informations are available. Catalogs of televisions are available with their price, with their features and everything. Like we purchase retail goods on e-commerce websites, Amazon, Flipkart, and there are many other, right? There is a similar kind of thing. If you want to purchase in bulk, same thing can be done. Like Alibaba, that's the platform which provides wholesale goods. Easy? Now, okay. Next thing, if you want to know more about the product, you can use the communication technology, telephone call or free calls on WhatsApp, email, lots of things we have. That is thanks to technology in communication and information. So, in recent times, technology in the areas of telecommunication, computers, internet has been changing rapidly. And information and communication became faster, at the same time much easier. And all these things, faster communication, easier communication, and those all things are available at very negligible cost. How much do we pay to serve websites? It's almost nothing, almost nothing. That what we call that negligible cost. So here internet also allows us to send information as well as communication faster, easier, at negligible cost. Not limited to our country but across the globe. So here the second factor, information and communication technology. Third factor is liberalization. I will discuss liberalization in next video. To understand the role of information and communication technology, I would like to explain one more case study which is given in your textbook. Understand it. How technology, information and communication plays important role in globalization. So here about IT. IT, that means information technology in globalization. Let's see. A news magazine. Magazines, those guys publish various articles on different subjects. So about a magazine, a news magazine published for London readers. Here Indian people less readers we have magazines and all. Here people prefer to watch news channels rather than reading, study. But in foreign countries, magazines, one of the popular source. So here about a magazine published for London readers to be designed and printed in India, Delhi in India, and that also at lesser cost than England. How? Let's see. Here both information and communication technology as well as first factor we have seen transportation. Both the factors play important role. How? Let's see. So the text of magazine is sent through internet to the Delhi office. So whatever content the magazine publisher wants to publish, send those text contents through email, through internet, email or through cloud computing, through other means. Means in short, through internet. Sending easier. Delhi office received within a few seconds, not few minutes or few hours, but few seconds. The designers in Delhi office get orders on how to design the magazines from the office in London using telecommunication facilities through internet as well as through telephonic conversation. That Delhi, London office provided guidance that about magazine cover layout as well as inside the magazine design, how to prepare. So they prepared here magazine design as well. More, the designing is done on a computer, right? Through various softwares. Designing is now much easier. After printing, the magazines are sent by air in London using text, pictures, designing and everything done. After designing, soft copy they prepared, that we call it soft copy, e-copy or digital copy. And later, digital copy we use for printing the hard copy, paper copy. So after printing this, those magazines, the Delhi office, where they sent to London using air transportation, because compared to earlier, air transportation is cheaper, like we have discussed earlier in this video. More, so how do they pay? How do we get payment? So now payment also we know that there are various e-payment methods are available. E-banking, what we call, right? So London office pay them using e-banking. Easier using transportation and IT technology. So all those things became faster and easier. That is globalization. One more example about globalization related to this. I have a friend who actually works as translator and provides subtitles. You know that Netflix and other sources, they have subtitles, especially for foreign language. So that friend gets contracts from Netflix for various series, asked to translate and provide timing on computer. He gets paid. He gets paid. So this is how IT plays important role, right, in globalization. And one of the most important factors, which is liberalization. So about liberalization, we will discuss tomorrow. Stay tuned. Thanks so much.